Alright, here it is, the video review for Masterpiece MP-44 Optimus Prime version 3, a new update to Optimus Prime, bringing him a little bit more in line with the very cartoon aesthetic that they have been putting out in their more recent Masterpieces. Matches MP-36 very well. But yeah, here he is in truck mode. And you can see his rifles here. It doesn't have to store here, but that's just where I have it for the time being. But even with the rifle attached, you can still swivel them around. You can slide this off right here using this little slot, which does give him a little bit more range of movement side to side, but not a whole lot because it's just how everything bumps together. But yeah, so you can roll. You got the trailer, basic trailer, but again, it's supposed to look more like the animation. Because the trailer's basic, we're going to go ahead and focus on that for a minute. Go ahead and take the cab off over here and look at the trailer. So once you've got the trailer detached, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but you can flip down these little panels and just set the trailer off by itself. He also has these little kind of auto-morphing limbs that come out to the side. You can see as you pull it out, that foot comes down to support it, to open it up. You can put some smaller cars in there. They've shown Bumblebee, I'm sure like Sunstreaker and Sideswipe. But you can open up the back doors, pull out this ramp. The ramp, this little plate right here is metal, magnetic. And the reason they have that is because, let's go ahead and open this up here. Put these out. Inside, you've got what looks like a standard Optimus thing. You got Roller, who actually does plug in. He doesn't launch, but he does plug into the little rover robot right here. And then you have these little figures of Spike and Sparkplug and Carly. And I'll probably keep them in the box just for safety because they're very small. Their joints are, and some of their joints are ball joints. And you can see here, like Spike's just moving them. Spike's legs like to pop off, his head especially. Like I may have to actually glue his head on because it's a ball joint, but man, his head does not stay on. You can see it's a teeny ball joint. And they do even have, and it doesn't even really click into place when you put it on. They have little ball joints. They're hollow through the middle. And there's his leg again. Because of the ab crunch joint, the way they've got a little ball joint there for ab crunch, and it just makes them see-through in the middle. I don't know how well you can see that, but right there at the waist, there's just a big hole that goes straight through them. There's Carly in her little sweater vest thingy, pullover cardigan, I don't know. And then Sparkplug is a little bigger. But like I said, these metal panels, these magnets, they have magnets in both their backs and their feet, so you can have them. You see, there's even standing on an angle. You can magnetically. There's some magnets over here on these little strips here on the side are magnetic, so they can hang out in their repair bay. And we'll set them off to the side for that being. Spike, your leg, I swear to God. If it does not stay together, we're going to, his knees coming out now. Knee's just a peg joint, but yeah. They're bonuses. I'm showing them off because they came with them, but like, Roller has, you can flip out this little thing here on the back. He's got a little, you can lift up there and see his engine. And with this flipped up, you can attach, you can flip out Prime's rifle, fold this up. You can attach Prime's rifle to the, oh, it actually looks like this part could maybe go, no, maybe not, okay. You can attach Prime's rifle to Roller. You can also attach over here on the side. There's a couple little peg holes up here, and you actually get the little rubber hose refueling thing. You can attach those to Roller as well if he needs to deliver some gas. You can roll out, like I said, there's space to, you can put an Autobot car in there if you wish. The little repair robot can lift up. Now, originally, there were some shots where this could come off, and you could attach, and it may still be possible, but you could attach, early pictures showed Optimus Prime attached to this as like a flight stand, and apparently instead he comes with this adapter for Dinobot stand that clips onto his back. But apparently they removed that feature. A friend of mine actually did try to attach it and found that there's a little thing that's supposedly to lock this in place, and it just to lock this bit in place, and it just doesn't work. with Optimus's, oh, this little thing right here. With Optimus's weight, it doesn't latch into place very well. You can see you can latch that, you can push this up and latch it into various positions here. But this comes up, the little satellite dish comes up and rotates around like before. You can pull, instead of launching missiles, you can slide the guns out. It's got the repair claw over here. We'll look at some of a little bit of this more in detail in just a second when I get to the fun stuff. Because there's that, there's things you can do. There's little doors on the thing that you can open to. There we go. It sounds horrible, but so you can have him pop up through the top of the trailer, like on the old toy. You can turn him around so he's facing forward. You can have him come through the. You can have him do that, or you can even, like, there's panels on either side here that are, again, a little scary to fold up. But so you can have him come through the front of the trailer if you wish. I think you need. Oh, I think you have to turn the whole thing around, which we'll get to because this whole thing slides back like this. You can turn this around and have him maybe come forward like this. Not sure. Yeah, maybe attach it like this. Slide it in there. Yeah, and see with this closed, you can have him stick out the front of the trailer like that. But this whole assembly, like I said, it just slots it back, comes out. You can flip. You can have the robot stand up, or you can, there we go, have him, his arm can come around over the robot like before, and then you can fold up these little side wheels and turn this into, fold that up, and now he's a little independent rover. But the trailer, it's got all the details of the old stickers here and molded plastic, but it's the trailer. I mean, like, I'm not going to focus too much on this anymore. It's if you have an Optimus Prime trailer, you know what an Optimus Prime trailer is like. Go ahead and set this off to the side for the time being. Show off a couple little bits here. Oh, also, he comes with a jetpack that, with this peg tabbed up, like it's supposed to be like the sideswipe jetpack that he can wear. You can plug this into the top and have it store up here on the top of the trailer. And also in the trailer, and this bit's actually pretty cool, this bit underneath here actually slides out. Like the whole rear license plate taillight bit slides out. And this stores, with the exception of the Starscream stuff and the jetpack, which I usually just stuff in the trailer, stores his extra faces and blast effects and accessories. So you can take the axe out. We'll use that later. But the jetpack has these special effects bits that you can plug in to make it look like the jetpack's firing, both on the top of the thing and on a robot. So we'll put this tray off to the side. We're going to need those accessories here in a bit. But also the jetpack in its base mode, like if you take, it's not base mode, but you fold this tab in and fold this tab up. The tab will fit up into this slot, and this little hook thing comes up. You can actually put it on Sideswipe. It's built for Optimus Prime. It goes on Optimus Prime, but you can also attach it to Sideswipe here in robot mode, which is some neat planning. And again, if you want to have the thrusters in, you can have him flying away with his jetpack. And then one last thing with Roller before we move on is that he's got like a little groove here. You can fold that, leave that up or down. But with this little repair bot, there's a little tab here that can flip out. Almost like a little trailer. And you can attach this here, and then Roller can pull the repair bot around. You can stand it up vertically to be a repair bay of the trailer. There's a lot of different things you can do. I think you can even, like this right here, I think there's a way that you could even, oh yeah, there is. That's what that little groove there is for. You can take the trailer and you can have Roller pull the trailer. And the weight of it pushes the back on the back of Roller. So unless you're actively holding down the front end, he's going to lift up a little bit. But you can have Roller pull Prime's trailer in a pinch as well. Get out of the way here. Here is the basic cab. Again, a little bit more animation accurate. Now, yes, there are some scenes where he has the gray stripe. There are a lot of scenes, especially and even in the movie, where he does not have the gray stripe around the cab, and that's what this is evoking. If you want that, here he is with MP-10. I didn't get MP-10's trailer up because it's currently being used as a riser for some figures up on the top shelf of one of my shelves in the computer room, so I didn't feel like climbing up. This does have the repro labels on it, which is why you're seeing like this little Washington license plate and stuff on Prime. But there's the cabs together. MP-10's a little bigger, slightly longer smokestacks, at least over the back of the. Oh, that's personally my fault because I didn't push them down earlier when I transformed them. But yeah, a little bigger, a little chunkier in the back. Not as detailed in the back just because you've got all the Kibley bits there. But you can see this, he's got a more accurate attachment point display here on MP-10. But that's how they look together. And then just for the heck of it, because I have them, here he is with the G1 Prime, Toy Prime. And then just because he happened, like he pretty much lives out here on the review table. Here he is with Delta Man. It's from Big Toys. Just to give you an idea about how big he is in cab mode. And one last little thing here, which we'll see if we can do here in the cab without Spike exploding on me, is while you can't see him through the windscreen, it's not a real sit inside the cab. Spike, I swear to God. Like I said, if you're buying it for these little minifigures, don't. But let's see if we can't get Spike to sit in the cab here. Because there is a feature where you can apparently, again, stupid thigh, just does not want to stay together, nor his head on. I may have to, like I said, I may have to glue his head on because there's no real point in moving it around. I mean, there's no real point in playing with these unless you're just going to have them statically stand on one of the magnets, at least that I found. But anyway, you can open the door here on the side of the vehicle, and there's just enough space where if you get him positioned just right, you know what? He's just going to go in there headless. Pretend he has his head on. You can put Spike and Sparkplug and Optimus and have him sit in there. Although, like I said, the way it's, if you look in there, you see there's a bunch of plastic in between him and the windscreen. You don't actually see him through the front windscreen, but you can kind of see him through the side window. I guess it's neat that they managed to engineer that so it could work that way, but man, I'm really not a fan of these tiny figures. So now on to the transformation. And like I said, this is, we're actually real quick. There's a little tab here. Normally it just kind of folds up here in vehicle mode, but you can see there's a tab there. You can store this in one of the, earlier when I had it, I had the gas tank bits that were plugged into the side, plugged into roller, and then had this plugged into its storage space in the side, in one of the peg holes in the trailer. But if you want to store if you want to just carry the gun in the cab around, although with all the potential paint chipping issues, I wouldn't just throw this guy in a bag. But you can, just like I said, there's a slot here on the gun once it's folded up, and then there's a tab here that you can just slide the gun onto, and you can sit at an angle, it can sit up like this, however you want, but you can have him carry his rifle in vehicle mode. Just pop that off, and we'll just flip it around with that dual hinge, flip the handle down, and we'll set that off to the side for the time being. So to transform it, and this is crazy because what you're looking at right now, it looks like Optimus Prime. We played with Optimus Prime. You know how Optimus Prime transforms. Looking at this right now, what you're seeing right now, all of this, what you're going to actually still see in robot mode is this top panel, this Autobot symbol, part of the shoulder and the smokestacks, and you will see the other side of this symbol of the silver bit, but it's going to be the other side. Like that, basically, like that. These panels up here are pretty much all of this. That, I mean, and maybe these little bars right here are all you're going to see in robot mode when we get them all transformed. It's nuts. So let's start it off. To pop it open, pop these side panels off. You can come underneath. However you need to do it. You can also get your finger in right there. But pull this whole side panel off the cab and pull it out to the side. Well, not the whole thing. Bring it down at this midway hinge right here, like that. Already you can kind of see some of the hands and the shoulders and the workings inside the cab here, but like, seriously, this is crazy. So bring this down, and then on each side, take the red bit, fold it down like this whole assembly. Take this silver piece here and flip it over like that. Fold the mirror down, fold this panel up and around like this, and then flip this whole thing over like that. Come around here, fold this panel down, around like that, and then fold the blue panel over it. So it's all collapsed up like that. All right, and we're on the way. Same thing on this side, do the same thing. Flip this over, fold the mirror down, fold this panel up, flip it over, fold this panel down and around like that. Go ahead and split the legs. And at this point, we can go ahead and open them up. Now, there's a couple different things. You can start working on this in the order of the instructions. I find it's easier to go ahead and swing these out, extend this, or lift this piece up right here with the wheel, this piece up, which will allow the knee to extend up. And in order to lock it in place, you need to take this panel, untab this. This little piece right here needs to rotate forward. It's going to be the front side of the knee. But flip this all the way up and around, and then that has a tab on it that you can plug the knee into. That's going to give you a little bit more room to work with, as well as kind of hold this in place more securely to the upper leg, so this whole piece isn't flopping around while you're trying to transform this. But the more you can separate this away from the body so you can fiddle with these pieces right now is good. So again, take this, don't forget to flip this little panel right here up, and then fold the whole thing up, and then tab it into the leg, and now you got the legs pretty secure. So come down here, and on the leg, this little panel right here folds up. Fold this down, flip, actually before you do that, flip this whole panel around. So this comes forward, so the wheel's kind of sitting above this little detailed piece. Take this panel right here and fold it flat. All right, we need to fold this down first. There we go, fold that down first. Flip this panel up. And once this is attached, this silver piece rotates down and then folds into tab in right here. That should stay like that. Fold this whole assembly down into here so that this piece that we folded around on the red part of the door matches up. You can see how it lines up with these details here. The foot, bring it down, open it up. Actually, before we do that, so take the connector piece for the trailer and rotate it around and up, and then fold this up against the upper leg. And then once that's done, this whole, leave the ankle where it is, but take this whole piece, grab it here, and push with this out. Push this assembly up so that this hinge joint fits into the slot, all the way up like that. And then make sure that this piece right here folds up. That's going to make sure that you keep your, make sure that you have the range of movement in the ankle, because otherwise you can transform it with that folded in, but it's going to limit the foot. Then fold this up and bring this whole piece. This tab right here on the knee is going to go through a hole on the leg, and there's a little tab on the blue piece right here that's going to go on the inside of the leg. But fold that all up, make sure that all tabs together securely, and then there's make sure this is all lined up, because when you fold this piece down, there's a little teeny notch on it, or a tab on it that goes in a little teeny notch here, and that's going to lock. That pretty much locks the whole lower leg together. Now that leg is done, aside from the foot. And you come down here, bring this down, rotate the light piece up. That's going to be the back part of the foot. And you see with this piece, that's why you wanted to fold it up so it's facing in this position vertically, because that lets the ankle go up into the body. If you leave that flat, it's a little bit more secure, but it won't be able to fold, it won't be able to bend toe point like that as well as it does here. And then there's a leg all said and done. And so we just do the same thing over here. Bring this down, fold this down. Now I've got to rotate this whole thing around here like this, and make sure this piece is up so that those match up, line up properly. Fold this piece down and around and in until those match up properly. There we go. Fold this piece up. All right, fold this piece in first. Fold that up, and then bring this whole assembly up on this hinge to fill in that gap, like that. Make sure this piece right here is folded vertically. And then put the whole, tab the whole leg together here. Oh, come on. Oh wait, no, I forgot, there we go. I forgot to fold this piece out. All right, forgot to do all this. There we go. Now it'll all fit together properly. Fold that up, tab it all together, and then use this little thing, snap it into place, fold the foot down, and the legs, for now, are done. But that's pretty interesting transformation. Now we get to the upper half, which is not, none of this is as bad as a lot of pictures made it look, but there are a lot of steps. So coming up here to the top part. So we've got all this stuff up here. Go ahead and pull the arms out on these hinges. I'll help get them out of the way of all the rest of this stuff. Untab it from down here. There's a little blue hinge you can just kind of get your finger under, and that'll start loosening all this stuff up and letting it all start to fold out of the way here. So this is going to be the sound backpack. You can go ahead and open this tab right here. Get that up out of the way. These panels on either side of the top of the truck flip up and back. So you can get the arms out there. Lift up this middle piece, and then this whole front grille comes up a little bit. And then once you lift that up, you can open up the windows and then allow this whole piece to, like all these pieces, to rotate around and back. So his head comes up here. These pieces are going to slot down and become his backpack. His head comes up. When you've got this all the way around here, we'll go ahead and come out here, pull this down just a little bit to unpeg these red pieces from the gray piece. Start to lift them up into the body, and then move these pieces out of the way. Fold the wheels. Actually, before you fold them in, push them down like this, and then fold them in. You can see this gray piece has already gotten scraped a couple times. Now that scrape, I'm pretty sure, is from this piece swinging past it, because it slides out, and sometimes it's loose enough that it won't stay locked up. And I'm pretty sure I did that and scratched it accidentally as this piece pushed up. Like you can see, it's right there where that corner hits. It's a minor thing. I'll fix it, but yeah, bring these up and out of the way here. Make sure the wheel's down and fold it into the right place. Then these come up here. These pieces right here flip up onto what will be the shoulders. Rotate the windows, and then you can see these. We got to get them past the arms, but these pieces will come up, form his abdomen. And then you can kind of finish rotating his head all the way up, because this red panel is going to come down flat like that. But rotate this up. When you get about right here, you can see this is going to be part of his backpack. Take these two side pieces, fold them down, or I guess you got to take this, fold these in like this, fold these side pieces down on the backpack, and then fold this down so that looks like that. And that will continue to come around. Bring this whole assembly down and out, and fold these white panels on the hips out, and then fold this blue piece that the gun was attached to down and around to form the back of him. Then start lifting it all up, getting it up out of the way. This piece comes around. It's going to form the back. His head just fell off, but that's okay. It's just his face. We'll get to that in a minute. Bring this all down. And up and around. This should come up. This should come up here. We'll get this. We'll get the backpack here in a second. Once this is up, this piece has the matrix in it, and then you want to make sure, because you can fold this up with this sticking through here. There's enough clearance, but you want to make sure this blue piece is all the way up against that grill. It's going to kind of fit in this little slot right here. But fold this up into the chest. You can see the torso is coming together now. Come back here. Bring this up. This should peg in to the back. These panels right here plug into the back of the gray pieces. And then this piece sits right here on his back. And then this part of the backpack comes up, locks it together, and then tabs in right up here on top. Like that. And then you just kind of bring this all around, snap it into... The first couple times you do this, it's a little scary, but you just snap it into the front and the back, just push down on it. Bring his legs down. Stand him up. Close his chest windows, make sure they snap all the way into place. His arms, you just kind of rotate and snap into his body like this. Extend them, rotate them, flip up this panel, extend, rotate, flip up that panel. It's a little easier actually if you do that before you push his body in, but rotate that around and then rotate that panel into his body until it clicks into place. You can see we're coming together here. His smokestacks hinge in to sit a little bit more naturally on his shoulders. Make sure this should push all the way in. Make sure that's connected. Oh, it's good. There we go. And then the hands, bring this inner panel down and around, and then push his hand through there. This whole assembly rotates around into this spot. And this tabs on over here. If you have any, if you have any trouble with this not clicking in all the way, push it on to the tab while also kind of pushing this toward the hinge, and it should straighten everything out. But the fist comes around, rotate it around so it's facing the proper direction. This panel right here opens up, and then you fold it up and snap it into place like that. There's one arm done. Make sure that gets folded around, because also if you don't fold the hand around, it will be a little bit more difficult to get all this stuff to snap into place. You may have to massage it a little bit, just get everything to line up properly, but it should all. I don't know why this is not being friendly to me now. There we go. And there is MP-44 in robot mode. And he's a fantastic looking dude. If you prefer MP-10, that's fine. I've had some people I just said this guy was fantastic, and I've had a lot of people coming after me about how great MP-10 is. I don't disagree. I love MP-10. MP-10 was a great Optimus. It's clear who it is. It's a fun toy. This looks very much like the Optimus Prime on the cartoon that I grew up watching. So, I mean, like, they're both good figures. If you can't afford or don't want to spend the money on this, and whether this is worth the price they're asking for it, that's certainly a very fair debate. Personally, I would have been nice to just have... I could have lived if it was just the cab and the rifle and the Matrix and maybe the axe, and had that called it a day for a lot cheaper. But it is nice that they have to have the trailer, although I have so many trailers now. Gun just tabs into his hand. And there he is. His posability is insane. We'll get that right off the bat, because he's got like a ball joint at the neck and move around, ratcheting bits in his arm, swivel hinge elbows that come up pretty decently. He's got a waist swivel, a little bit. Does it swivel? It should swivel more than that, but that in both of his arms. He's got ratcheting hips, and what's cool is the way the hip skirts are designed. You lift it up, it automatically folds back, and he can get a pretty decent knee bend there and down there. But you see the hip skirt automatically folds up out of the way and then folds right back into place as you bring the leg down, which is cool. He does have an ab crunch that is not just disconnecting these hinges. And the way to do it is if you just kind of grab them and push up, because like here's the hinge that we collapsed and attached here and here to hold the robot mode together. But this is a separate kind of a tilty waist hinge here that also frees up the waist swivel. And all you have to do is, like I said, hold them like this and just push up from the bottom of the backpack. If you try to grab it and pull it up, it might be a little problem. But like, just find if you just grab them like this, just push up right there, and once you see that screw, you'll know that you've popped the little ab crunch. So that's there too. But he's got thigh swivel, ratcheting hips in both directions, thigh swivel, the knees, and then front to back on the ankle. He's got ankle tilt. He's got a toe tilt here as well. It looks like, yeah, a little bit of a toe tilt there. Now the knees. I don't know why they designed them like this. There's a fix. I just went ahead, when I first got mine, I transformed them into robot mode and then immediately took them apart and did the fix gluing these little pieces in, because this little piece right here is a little tab. Oh, it's raining. It's a separate piece. And I guess because you can see when the knee bends, you have to bend it up like this, and then there's a little slot, a curved slot inside there that this tab goes into. So the lower knee doesn't articulate until you get to here, and then it goes inside that piece. I don't know how well that's showing off in there. I don't know why they did that, because it seems like the ratchet, this is part of a ratchet, and the other part of the ratchet is, the spring part of the ratchet is inside the calf. I just don't know why they didn't just mold the ratchet onto this half of the thing and be done with it. I don't know why they made this thing such a big deal. Because, I mean, I feel like you could, if you didn't want this at all, if you didn't want to deal with it, you could cut that, you could shave that whole tab off and lose nothing. But, you know, I'm not the designer. Maybe there's a structural reason for it. It's just weird. But most people who have, who even if it's not ratcheting down there, it's still just as stiff from what I understand. But like I said, I did the fix just because I knew about it and said, why not? I got him into robot mode, and now I've got to like go do some exercising for a little bit before it gets too late. So I just fixed it and let it dry while I was on the stationary bike. But yeah, so there he is. And like T-Man, if you want to fix it, T-Man has a great tutorial. I think you just search MP-44 knee fix here on YouTube. You'll find his video. But he's got a decent little walkthrough, a visual walkthrough on how to put it all together. So now, the extra pieces for him. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, let's say the comparisons for last. So, he comes with his axe, and it looks a little different. It's got a little swivel, but you see, like, that's not a post, that's a weird clip. The way it attaches is, you pull his hand off. Like, you gotta get your thumb kind of, or actually go ahead and take the gun off, but the hand comes off, and it's tricky because it doesn't just pop off. You can see it comes off of this blue clip on his wrist. And I think they both do. I haven't pulled this one off, but it looks like it's the same assembly on each side. So you're actually kind of taking a chunk out of the back of his hand for this clip. And then you take the axe, and you can keep it. You have to keep it from rotating while you're doing this, but you can attach that into the clip. And now he's got his axe hand. I'm not 100% sure if I'm clipping that in there right. I feel like I am. Yeah, it has to be that way. Because I'll straight up be honest with you. I looked up how this worked, and I took the hand off last night, but this is the first time I've actually attached the axe. But so the axe is on a hinge, and it still has the rotation wrist swivel, so you can give him his energy axe. He comes with, and I've never understood, we get such specific accessories to weird episodes. He comes with Starscream parts. There's something crawling on me down there. Go away, bug. Anyway, so there's an episode where Starscream dresses up as Optimus Prime, and so you get his little vents and his head. So you take all the heads swap out like this. This is the season 1 head, I believe. Season 2 head. I'm not sure which head this is. Season 2 head that comes attached to him. But you open up, you just slide it forward. There's a little peg on the front of it that pegs into the back of the face. But you just pull the whole head off like that. And then lift this up just a little bit more here. Slide Starscream's face on, which is silly enough. And then you undo the backpack like this little tab right here. His vents slot onto that. And you just close the backpack back up. And, well, come on, why don't you attach it back up? There we go. And now it's Starscream as Optimus. You can have him hold Prime's head as if he were like taking off a mask if you want. But yeah, that's an option. So you have the season 2 head, and then inside this piece there is a season 1 head, and just like Megatron, if I can get it out of here, Boy, it's... Okay, let me see if I can't pop this out of here real quick, because it should just be attached the same way all the other faces are. There we go. You got his battle damaged movie head from the fight with Megatron, as well as the ab damage. Now, the ab damage, the instructions, for some reason, I thought this was a piece you had to pull off of him to attach, but both of these side pieces actually have a little tab in it, so all you have to do is take this and plug it in there, and now he's got his ripped open abdomen, and then get Starscream's vents off and his face off, and you can attach the oh, come here, where'd you go? Wait, there it is. Attach the movie head. Come on, you. Oh, let's get the backpack back in place first. All right. So now he's all beat up from the movie. Or you can pop that off and pop on his other cartoon face. So how you want to display him is really entirely up to you. Personally, I prefer the Season 2 face. It looks more like the movie. It looks more like the Optimus I remember watching the cartoon, but entirely up to you. Also, these are a little bent in the package. It's just because they're so thin. But if you hit them with a hairdryer or some hot water, you can get those back into shape. I haven't done it yet, but it's on the list. Oh, the Jetpack. Right. One last thing. It just goes on the same way as Sideswipe. It kind of goes in the slot here, fits over his backpack, and then you can put in the thrusters. And again, you can use this adapter here, which kind of plugs in up here and supports him, to attach him to Dinobot, the stand that came with MP Dinobot. Again, there was a way, apparently there was originally going to be a way that the support for the little battle drone repair robot in his trailer would allow him to use that as a stand. It was in the early Takara pictures, promotional pictures, like a year ago when they first started showing this guy off, and it's just, apparently just does not support him. Before we get to size comparisons, the voice clips, I'm not going to go through all of them because he's got a lot, he's got like 6 different sets of the Japanese voice clips, 5 different sets of the Japanese voice clips. But you turn on his little backpack here. It takes 3 LR44 batteries that do not come included. But you flip on this little switch, and this little bit right here is a button. So Cybertron's transformed, so he's got some Japanese clips, and then you hold the button down until you hear the transformation noise. And then it's another set of clips. Hold the button down. And it'll kind of ascend up or descend down each time you put between each set of clips. We should be on set 3, 4. Like I said, I'm not sure how many are there, and I don't recognize enough to know how many clips I've gone through. Transform down. All right, holding this down again. And then you get a whole set of Prime or Peter Cullen voice clips. So you get Autobots transform and roll out with the descending transformation noise. And then ascending transformation noise. Okay, we already.
Optimus Prime. One shall stand, one shall fall.
I think that's it. I think it's just Autobots roll out. I am Optimus Prime. Autobots or transform and roll out. Autobots transform and roll out. I am Optimus Prime. One shall stand. One shall fall.
One shall
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like that's the 4. And then. Okay. Sorry. just squeezing him, it hits that button if your finger's on it. And then once you hold the button down again, it cycles back to the first set of Japanese sounds. But it does so, instead of the transformation noise, it does so in an interesting way. And then it's got a little bit of the cartoon incidental music, which is cool. And then it goes back to the first set of Japanese sounds. And unfortunately, if you turn it off, and I do recommend turning it off, or you'll be setting this thing off the whole time you're transforming, like the Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime. When you turn it off, it automatically resets back to the first set of Japanese sounds. So you can't just leave it. If you want to leave it on Peter Cullen, you can't just leave it on Peter Cullen and have it automatically work. Every single time you turn it on, you have to cycle. You don't have to play any of the Japanese voice clips. You just have to hold the button down until Transformer noise. Hold the button down. You have to do that 4 or 5 times every time you reset it to get back to the Peter Cullen sounds. Anyway, that said, I think we've covered, if not every configuration of the trailer that you can conceivably put it in, because the instruction booklet shows several. That's all the main bits and pieces of MP-44. I think he's fantastic. I still love my MP-10. They do different things, but this is just a fantastic recreation of what I saw on the TV when I was 7, 8 years old. So I'm super cool with that. Also, now that we're getting into it, he looks fantastic on the shelf with MP-36. You can make them yell at each other in Japanese. Sadly, like his voice clip, while you can leave it on the transformation noises or blasting noises, depending on how you want it, he only has Japanese clips, unless there's some secret that nobody's figured out, or at least that I'm not aware of. So sadly, he does not have any Frank Welker clips from the cartoon like Prime does. But those two right there, like I could stop collecting Transformers right now and be happy with these two, because that's just fantastic. Here he is with MP-10 in robot mode. And like I said, I get why people still like MP-10. It's clearly Optimus. He's big, he's chunky, he's solid. He's not nearly as finicky. He's not as prone to some of the quality, the really sensitive paint scraping issues, or like the knee issue. I mean, I know he's not perfect because like he does still have that index finger that likes to pop off when you're trying to get him to hold his gun. But in general, he's a little bit more of a simple and solid Transformer. He's got the quality, he's got the weight. There's nothing wrong with MP-10. I just want to make that clear, because like I said, I've had a lot of people coming at me about how much better MP-10 is, and I think they're both great. They're just doing different things. Let's just start leaving some of these in the frame with all the Optimuses around here. So there's MP-44, MP-10. Here he is, again, just for fun, with the G1 toy. Somebody, I don't know if it was Cheebs or who, somebody I saw on Twitter when this first came out had done a Photoshop of MP-44 like in a toy deco, like they did with Megatron, where they made him the shiny chrome and all that. And it looked fantastic with the yellow eyes and the darker blue. I might be tempted to double dip on this guy. Especially if they did it as just the cab without the trailer at a slightly cheaper price. But, hey. And then, just because they're here, and why not, here he is with Siege Optimus Prime and Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime. They were all just sitting here on the table that I cleared off before I started reviewing them. But yeah, really fantastic. Lots of fun. The transformation, while intricate, is not nearly as scary or frustrating as it looked like in pictures, which is a huge bonus, because I was really worried that they were going to give us, it was just going to be a nightmare. And there's a lot of steps, but none of them are overtly scary or difficult. Some people were saying like just getting him to snap together, snapping his torso down and popping at that ab crunch joint were just super scary and required a scary amount of force, and I just didn't have that. And I don't know if it's because there is a way, and I don't know exactly what it is. I saw somebody post about it when he first came out, that apparently there is like an angle that if you snap the back joint in first and then clip this down, and you come at it from a certain angle initially, that snapping this whole torso down is not as scary or difficult as it sounded from some people. And I don't know if I just naturally did it that way, because I've not had any issues with getting him to snap together, especially at the torso. It's just figuring out and following the instructions with all the little teeny tiny, because like this little flap and this little ankle flap, they're in the instructions, but like you're not always 100% clear of exactly what piece is that I'm supposed to be moving. But once you get it all down, it's actually pretty decent. Also, the gun here, you can fold this up in robot mode, and these two little tabs on the I guess the clip or whatever here can fit in either of these slots on either side of him. So you can store it on his back. You can store it facing the other way as well if you want it facing down. You can have it sit like that. And you can also, just like you could in vehicle mode, you can flip out this little tab and you can fold it in half and use that slot and store it here on his lower back. It doesn't fold away and store inside the backpack like it does on MP-10, but you can store the weapon if you don't want him holding it. Also, the backpack, it's big, but it's not nearly as large and obnoxious as pictures made it look. Much like a lot of it, all the scary bits, but it is there. But the sounds, especially the fact that they got some Peter Cullen sounds in there, I feel that backpack is a worthy trade-off, especially considering just the look of it and the transformation. Like I said, it's intricate, but it's actually kind of fun to do it, to see it all come together. My seal of approval, whether it's worth the price you're paying online, is up to you. But it is, I think, an excellent counterpiece to MP-36, and a really nice evolution, like going from the very first masterpiece Optimus Prime to MP-10 to this one is a really neat just evolution of the toys of the same character in the same line, and it's neat to see, and I'm really happy with it. Transformers masterpiece MP-44 Optimus Prime.